I want you to imagine something simple for a moment. You finish a meal. You feel fine. Nothing dramatic happens. But inside your body, your system is making dozens of tiny decisions about how to handle that food. And those decisions determine whether your blood sugar rises gently or spikes sharply and leaves you feeling tired, foggy, or uncomfortable later. What I'm about to share with you is not about special products. It's not about strict diets. And it's not about doing anything extreme. These are small, practical ways of eating the same foods you already eat, in a way that helps your body respond more calmly. Many people are surprised by how quickly these changes can make a difference, sometimes within the very same day. Over the years, I've spoken with many older adults who felt frustrated. They were trying to do the right things. They were following advice. And yet their numbers stayed stubbornly high. What they were missing wasn't effort, it was strategy. Before we talk about what to do, we need to understand what's happening inside the body after you eat. Because once that picture becomes clear, everything else makes sense. When you eat foods that contain carbohydrates, bread, rice, potatoes, fruit, even milk, your body breaks them down into glucose. That glucose enters the bloodstream. This is normal. Your body is designed for this. In response, your system releases insulin. Insulin acts like a messenger, helping move glucose from the blood into your cells so it can be used for energy. In an ideal situation, blood sugar rises gently, then settles back down. But over time, especially as we get older, this process can become less efficient. The body may not respond to insulin as smoothly as it once did. Glucose stays in the bloodstream longer, and those post-meal rises become steeper and more stressful for the system. The goal isn't to eliminate carbohydrates. The goal is to avoid sharp peaks. Stability matters more than perfection. And that's exactly what these 6 food habits are designed to support. They either slow how quickly glucose enters the bloodstream, help your cells respond more effectively, or change the timing so your body isn't overwhelmed. Let me briefly name all 6, so you have the full picture from the start. Then we'll go through each one calmly and clearly. First, the order in which you eat your food matters more than most people realize. Second, small additions to a meal can gently slow digestion. Third, light movement after eating helps your muscles assist with glucose use. Fourth, how certain foods are prepared can change how your body handles them. Fifth, simple spices can support how cells respond to insulin. And sixth, what you pair foods with can completely change their effect. None of these require buying anything expensive. None of them require giving up foods you enjoy. They're adjustments, not restrictions. Now let's slow down and walk through the first few habits in a very practical way, because these are not theories. They are small adjustments you can make with foods you already have, and once you try them a few times, they start to feel natural. The first habit is simply this: the order in which you eat your food. Most people mix everything together on the plate and eat it all at once. But your body responds very differently depending on what comes first. When you begin a meal with non-starchy vegetables, things like leafy greens, broccoli, green beans, cucumbers, tomatoes, you're giving your digestive system a kind of buffer. These foods are rich in fiber and water. That fiber slows how quickly the rest of the meal moves through your system. So when carbohydrates arrive later, glucose enters the bloodstream more gradually, not all at once. A gradual rise is much easier for the body to handle. Sharp rises create stress. This is why many people notice that when they start with vegetables, their post-meal numbers feel more stable. How do you use this? At meals, eat the vegetables first. Finish them. Then move on to protein. Save starches for last. It may feel unusual at first, but after a few days, it becomes automatic. The second habit involves adding something small to your meal, not to mask flavor, not to change what you eat, but to slow digestion just a bit. Acidic foods, like vinegar, can gently delay how quickly food leaves the stomach. When digestion slows slightly, glucose release slows too. This gives your body more time to respond. You don't need much. A small amount mixed into a salad, or diluted in water alongside a meal. Some people enjoy it as part of cooking or dressing. The key idea is timing, using it with the meal, not hours later. Always diluted. Comfort matters. And if you know your digestion is already slow, it's something to approach thoughtfully. The third habit is one of the most overlooked: light movement after eating. Not intense exercise, not a workout, just movement. When muscles contract, they can use glucose directly. This doesn't require anything fancy. A comfortable walk, moving around the house, gentle activity that gets the body involved. Timing matters here. The closer this movement is to the meal, the more helpful it tends to be. Many people find that even a short walk helps them feel clearer and more comfortable afterward. If walking isn't easy for you, seated movements still count. Arm motions, leg lifts, anything that engages muscles gently. The goal is participation, not perfection. So far, notice something important. None of these habits remove food. They change how food is handled. That's why they're easier to sustain. Now let's finish by looking at the remaining habits, and then I'll show you how all 6 come together in real life. The 4th habit has to do with preparation. Not what you eat, but how certain foods are handled before they reach your plate. Foods like rice, potatoes, and pasta change their structure when they're cooked and then cooled. After cooling, part of their starch becomes harder for the body to break down quickly. That means glucose enters the bloodstream more slowly, not eliminated, just slowed. Some people use these foods in salads, others reheat them later. What matters is that cooling step. It's a quiet adjustment, but it can noticeably soften the post-meal response. The 5th habit involves something many people already enjoy: spices. Certain spices support how cells respond to insulin. They don't replace anything. They don't overpower food, they simply support the system. A small amount spread throughout the day is usually enough. Mixed into meals, stirred into drinks, added where it feels natural. The key is consistency, not intensity. The 6th habit may be the most important of all: never eating carbohydrates by themselves. When carbohydrates are eaten alone, they tend to move quickly. When they're paired with protein, healthy fats, or fiber, digestion slows. The rise becomes smoother. The body has time to respond. So instead of plain toast, there's toast with something added. Instead of fruit alone, fruit with a small handful of something else. Instead of starch on its own, starch is part of a balanced plate. This doesn't mean large portions. It means thoughtful pairing. Now let's bring all 6 together in one simple example. Imagine a normal dinner. There's protein, there are vegetables, there's a starch. Here's how it flows. Vegetables first, then protein. Starch last, paired, not alone. A small addition with the meal to slow digestion. A calm walk or gentle movement afterward. Nothing rushed, nothing complicated. Just sequence and support. You don't need to use all 6 habits at every meal. Even 2 or 3 can make a difference. What matters is starting and paying attention to how your body responds. Over time, many people notice steadier energy, fewer sharp ups and downs, and more confidence around meals. Before we finish, let me say this clearly. This is not about perfection. It's about direction. You're not trying to control your body. You're trying to work with it. Start with your next meal. Choose 1 or 2 habits, let them settle in, then add more if they feel helpful. These are not temporary tricks. They're ways of eating that support your body over time, and they're meant to fit into real life.